So, I think I can speak for everyone when I say, my lord, I wish Stranger Things was still in DBD. Now, I know that it is, but I mean, I miss Hawkins Map, I hate the fact that we're not going to get any future cosmetics for Steve or Nancy or the Demogorgon, and I really feel like it's really upsetting, the fact that this isn't a potential anymore. Or is it? Now, with the announcement of a second Resident Evil chapter, I wholeheartedly believe that we can expect a second chapter of Stranger Things coming to Dead by Daylight in the future. First and foremost, I think removing Stranger Things was a huge marketing strategy. I really think it was made to kind of get loads of people hyped for the potential of a new one, because if they announced a second chapter, people would go berserk for it. And it's kind of in behavior's best interest, considering how well the first Stranger Things chapter did. A second Stranger Things chapter would go down even sweeter, considering that they've just had it removed. So I personally think that we can expect one. But today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be bringing you my design for what I expect that chapter to be. I have designed absolutely everything. 2 new survivors, a new map, a new killer. We're going through all the teachable perks, we're going through every single one of the killer's add-ons, and explaining why I think that this would be such a fantastic fit and reunion for Dead by Daylight fans. So, without further ado, this is the start of Stranger Things Chapter 2. Now, before we get straight into it, I do want to quickly warn you that if you haven't watched Season 4, do not watch this video if you are bothered about spoilers. This is your official spoiler warning, because we are going to get into the nitty-gritty of what happens in the start of Season 4 and explain exactly why I feel like this would be the perfect fit for Dead by Daylight. So if you're not up to date and you don't want anything spoiled, come back to this when you have watched them all. But on that note, this is what I expect the Chapter 2 to look like. I reckon the 2 new survivors that we would get are Eddie Munson and Robin Buckley. Robin is absolutely been demanded ever since she was introduced into Stranger Things Season 2, and the fact that everybody was begging for a legendary skin for Nancy for Robin. And for those of you who have watched it, Eddie is such a fantastic new member of the cast that he is already instantly definitely my favourite pick for a male survivor. And then, of course, the new killer would have to be Vecna 1 / what I call him, the General. Now, the reason why I've called him the General is because Dustin, in a very throwaway line, says that if Demogorgons are the pawns, Vecna is the 5-star General. And I thought that would be a really cool name for the killer. So this is exactly what I would expect a new chapter to look like. Vecna is the killer, Eddie and Robin to be the survivors. So before we get into the killer, which I really want to get into the killer, we're going to quickly go through Eddie and Robin's, the 3 teachable perks, and possible cosmetics as well. So first off, this is Eddie's envisioned page, as I imagine. So Eddie, of course, is the leader of the Hellfire Club. He's very new to the scene, only just come in Season 4, but he's already kind of made a mark on the show. He's absolutely amazing, and I didn't know he was British, but that's besides the point. Now, unfortunately, he wears the same outfit throughout the entire season, so there's no real variation in what he could look like. However, I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to bring in either Hopper or Murray as legendary cosmetic swaps. I think we all would love a Hopper cosmetic, and I feel like with the brilliance of him in Season 4 so far, Murray would also be a fantastic pick for a legendary cosmetic swap. But as far as what Eddie's himself outfits could be, I'm sure we'll have to wait for the second part of Season 4 to see if his outfit changes in any way, shape or form. But Eddie comes with 3 teachable perks. The first is Hellfire Fury. As the leader of a crew, you know how to work well with others. Every time a survivor is injured, gain a token, up to a maximum of 8. Whenever you heal yourself or others, your aura is shown to the other survivors. For every token, gain 3, 4 or 5% healing speed on yourself and other survivors. Just a fairly generic healing one, but I feel like this would be good because it kind of would get stronger the game goes out, instead of just being incredibly good like Circle of Healing is throughout within a certain radius. This, it kind of ticks up the clock. Every time the killer injures a survivor, you gain a token and get that bit faster. So I think this would be a really good one, kind of like Autodidact, where you have to really put in a little bit of time to get the full benefit out of it, but when you do get the full benefit, hopefully it would really be good. And you could also obviously stack this on top of Circle of Healing, Self-Care, blah 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 blah. The second perk is called Protector. You've seen your friends go through enough. it's time to help. When another survivor is hit within a 12-meter radius of you, their aura is revealed to you. Then, on taking a protection hit on the same survivor before they are put into the dying state, you will automatically heal yourself after 20, 15, and 10 seconds. Protector can only be activated 3 times in a single trial. Now this, I've wanted this perk in for ages. I think it'd be really cool, just designed for taking hits and forcing pressure on the killer. Now nothing would be funnier than being able to go up, take a hit, get the boost, and then just immediately heal yourself, get back to normal, and be an absolute champion for slowing down the chase. And the fact that it can't be over abused because you can only use it 3 times in a single trial. I just think this would be a really fun little build, or a fun little perk, sorry, that you could really get some decent use out of. And his final perk is Fight Back. When you can't explain what is happening, you deal with it anyway. Whilst injured, press E whilst fast vaulting to perform a kick. If the killer is within the effective range, they are stunned for 3 seconds, but causes exhaustion status effect for 40, 50 or 60 seconds. Just another exhaustion perk, but I thought it'd be so cool if with this one you could kind of like just double kick the killer straight in the gut and stun them for 3 seconds. I honestly I'm surprised this one hasn't already been induced, because obviously we're running out of ideas on what could actually be decent exhaustion perks, and I really honestly believe that this one could be really fun. So just a simple one, but that is what I envision Eddie would bring to the table. Now let's move on to Robin. Now Robin also has 3 teachable perks, but she has a lot more options for variety in when it comes to cosmetics. She's obviously got her base outfit, what she has in Stranger Things Season 4 with like the battle jacket with the ram or the bull on it, I can't tell which one it is, but then she's also got the outfit that she wears when she goes to talk to Victor Creel with Nancy, the kind of very feminine outfit that she absolutely despises. She's obviously got the Scoops Ahoy outfit, which she would need so she could pair with Steve, and she's also got the outfit of when she works at the TV video place, renting out cassettes to people. So again, she already has some really good ideas for some cosmetics that Behaviour could profit on, and I know Behaviour is all about the money, and not in a nasty way, of course they are, but this is kind of just to prove that point. But Robin's 3 teachable perks come with big error. Everyone around you constantly makes mistakes. Now that your hands are tied, you pull out all the stops. Every time another survivor fails a skill check, you will gain a token up to a maximum of 6, 8 or 10. For every token gained grants an additional 1% speed to repairing generators, but every time that you fail a skill check, 3 tokens will be instantly consumed. Now this is great because, especially for newer players, as this will really help in the kind of grind to gens and getting used to skill checks. If people are making mistakes around you, you will then be able to kind of hopefully make up that speed. It'd be a fun little perk, obviously needs a little bit more fine tuning, but just as a base, that is big error. Her second perk is Near Miss. You hate stress and thrive when your mind is calm and relaxed. When you escape a chase, break into a sprint at 150% of your normal running speed for a maximum of 3 seconds. Causes the exhausted status effect for 60, 40 or 50 seconds. Again, another exhaustion perk, but this one when you are able to quickly escape from the chase, this will give you just that little bit of extra speed to get far away from the killer to make sure that they cannot chase you again. And her last teachable perk is Boon Redirect. You surprise even yourself sometimes, and it shows to others. Any survivors within the radius of this boon will recover from status effects 20, 25 and 30% faster, and failed skill checks in this radius will not alert the killer. Again, just a very generic boon, kind of like the Vigil boon, instead of like the Unbreakable boon that's exponential and stuff like that. I thought it'd be just good so you can get over exposed, you can get over your exhaustion, your hemorrhage, whatever it may be, 30% faster, and if you do heal within this boon skill checks or generators and you fail it, the killer will have no idea. Just another 3 set of perks that I thought would be really fitting in the Dead by Daylight universe. But that's the 2 survivors. I know there's nothing much you can really say about them both because survivors are fairly generic, but these are my ideas and I really hope you enjoy them. But now it's time to get to the meat and potato of this DLC. It is going to be Vecna, or I call him the General. So the General's power is Vecna's Curse. Banished to the Upside Down, Vecna honed his powers and now his curse echoes through reality. His first part to his power is the special attack Curse Tendrils. Press and hold the power button to send out a tendril under the ground. When released, they pierce through and grab survivors and hold survivors in place for a short duration. Tendrils have a short cooldown on both missed and successful attacks. Think of this kind of like Pinhead's chains where you can keep survivors in place for a little bit of time, but instead these ones bury through the floor and pop up to grab their feet and kind of hold them in place for a second. Fairly simple, but his second part to his power is what I'm very excited about. So the second part is the clocks, the grandfather clocks. The general can interact with several grandfather clocks scattered throughout the trial. When interacted with, one survivor will be stuck in a trance. This survivor cannot be attacked, but a timer starts. Another survivor must interact with the trans survivor and apply headphones to them to return them to a normal state. If not rescued in time, they will take a health state, and if on final hook and injured, they will instead be immediately morried. Once a clock has been used, it will not be able to be used again until all other clocks have been used and a short cooldown has played after, and you cannot use clocks with only one survivor remaining in the trial. And I didn't put it in here as well, but survivors can also sabotage clocks for a short duration to keep them out of play. So with this, I just kind of tried to think of an aspect of his power that could work really well with like the tranced aspects and the music and whatnot. For those of you who've seen it, you obviously know what I'm talking about. But I feel like this would actually be really, really cool, and especially more supernatural and definitely in keeping with Vecna and his character. So honestly, I could, obviously with some more tweaks and whatnot, I really feel like this could be a really, really cool power that Vecna could have. And Vecna, of course, comes with 3 teachable perks. The first, it's time. The Upside Down has taught you how valuable time is. Kicking a generator will cause the entity to block that generator for 5, 10, or 15 seconds. Once unblocked, the first survivor that touches the generator will have their aura revealed by 3 seconds, and only one generator may be afflicted by its time at any given moment. So I just thought it'd be really cool that when you actually kick a generator, the entity immediately blocks it off for a certain amount of time, kind of to keep that pressure off it for a little while, especially if it's nearly done. If you don't have any gen regress perks available and you kick this, you will have a guaranteed at least 15 seconds to push survivors away, to get some damages, and hopefully keep the pressure off the generator for a little bit. But it's also not too strong that it's always going to be a problem for survivors. His next teachable perk is Collective Suffering. Suffering always comes at a price. When the obsession is hit, Collective Suffering activates. When hit from healthy to injured, another healthy survivor will also lose a health state. If no other survivor is healthy, one random survivor will be broken for 20, 30, 40 seconds, and this perk has a cooldown of 90 seconds. I just thought it would be really, really amazing if when you hit somebody, somebody else can randomly take damage as well. And his final perk is Psychic Break. Your success in the trial fractures survivors' minds and their hope. After each survivor has been hooked, one Psychic Break activates. When a survivor is in a chase for longer than 15 seconds, they will become exhausted for 5 seconds. And then when they run within 12, 16 or 20 meters of another survivor, that survivor will scream, revealing their location. Again, I just thought this perk would be absolutely fantastic for making survivors properly panic, knowing that after 15 seconds they will be exhausted and will have to adapt afterwards. Of course, if they use Sprint Burst or anything like that, they'll get their value out of it and then become exhausted anyway. This is kind of a nerf towards Dead Hard, and I feel like this would be really, really good in the chase. And then also the little bit of information that you can get when they do go screaming when they run past survivors. You can either chase the survivor that's exhausted, or if you know that somebody's in a more vulnerable spot, go and chase them instead. So again, I really like these 3 perks. I made them, so I'm probably going to be a bit biased, but you will have to let me know down below. And now it's time to get to all of Vecna's add-ons. Now this took me so long to do, and honestly I'm not going to be that guy, but if you would kindly leave a like and subscribe just for the amount of time it took me to make these, I would be forever grateful. I really appreciate it. But these are all of Vecna's add-ons that I have designed. We of course have got 4 common, 5 uncommon, 5 rare, 4 very rare, and 2 ultra rares or iridescents. So, the common add-ons. The first one is Vile Tendril, which increases the time it takes for survivors to free themselves from a cursed tendril by 1 second. Again, nothing too drastic, but just an extra little one that's definitely a brown. The next is the Connecting Counter, increases the time it takes for survivors to snap out of a trance by 3 seconds, so when survivors put on those headphones, it'll take an additional 3 seconds before that survivor can then start moving again. The chess piece, the general can now see the target zone for the cursed tendrils, so very similar to, I can't remember what it was called, but one of Victor's add-ons that allows you to see the target location of the pounce, or the nest, the target location for the blink. I feel like this would be a good one just to see the target location of the tendrils. Very, very brown, but may help from time to time. And finally we have Miller's Cap, which increases the cursed tendril charging speed by 0.35, which so when you send out your cursed tendril it will activate a little bit faster and go around across the map faster by 0.35%. So, not some bad little browns, but I, of course, will have to leave these to you. The next ones are his uncommon add-ons. The first one is the Scouting Bat. When a survivor is pulled out of a trance, Killer Instinct will show their location for 2 seconds. So, normally when survivors are tranced, Vecna will not be able to see them. Of course, you definitely won't be able to attack them, but after this, you will be able to see their location for 2 seconds, so you'll know that there's at least 2 people in that direction, the tranced and the rescuer. The next one is the Burning Crib. When first put into a trance, hide the aura of the survivor for 10 seconds. So obviously when a survivor is first put into a trance, the other survivors will not be able to see this survivor's aura for the first 10 seconds. They'll know that somebody has been tranced because of this audio cue. But they will not be able to see their location, so this would be really good, especially more brutal for solos. Swifts would probably be able to get around this a little bit easier, but just to kind of keep survivors a little bit more on their toes. Next up we have the Glowing Chandelier, which survivors caught by cursed tendrils will suffer from hindered status effect for 7 seconds, which makes them just a touch slower. I reckon it'd be just like a 0.3 maybe, nothing too drastic, but enough to really make them have to decide to not greed a pallet or a vault or something like that. After that we have the Escape Hatch, which increases the recharge rate of the Cursed Tendril by 35%, so after you've either hit or missed a Cursed Tendril, this will increase the rate in which you can then reuse it again. A fairly generic one, but one that I definitely think is needed in his roster. And finally we have the Hawkins Keycard, which increases the zone of the Cursed Tendril by 10%. So when you apply this, the little circle that I imagine would be the Cursed Tendril kind of hitbox will be increased by 10 meters, just so that you have a little bit more leeway to actually catch the survivors. So these are all the uncommon ones. Next, onto the rare. Now the first rare one that we have is the Jar of Spiders. Now the Jar of Spiders decreases the trance rescue timer by 5 seconds, so kind of like the pigs ones where it reduces the time it takes to pop your head. This one takes 5 seconds off the rescue timer, so that survivors have to properly run and make sure that the music that Kate Bush is playing through your ears, otherwise you're going to take a health state or go down. After that we have the Rose Tinted Windows, which increase the recharge rate of the Grandfather Clocks by 25%. So as I said, with this power you have to use all of the Grandfather Clocks before they all go on a short cooldown and reactivate together. This would increase the reactivation rate by 25%. Next we have Two's Blood. The General will spawn within 10 meter radius of a Grandfather Clock. So at the start of the trial, when you spawn, you will have your first Grandfather Clock very close to you, so that you can immediately trance a survivor and get your pressure going as soon as possible. After that we have Fred's Glasses, which unlocks the potential in one's aura reading ability. The General can now see trance survivors' auras in white. So if you are interested in knowing where survivors are, or where you may need to pressure very quickly, you can now see where the trance survivor aura is. You will still not be able to attack them, not to be able to hit them, but this is there for that. And lastly, for the rare add-ons, we have the Wooden Orb, which causes Cursed Tendrils will afflict broken on injured survivors for 20 seconds. So to keep them in their injured place, to keep them high pressure to the General, this is a very simple one. Just when you do get hit with a Cursed Tendril, you'll be broken for a short duration of time. And then we're very close to the end now. Very rare add-ons. The first one is the Microchip, which makes Grandfather Clocks will choose injured survivors to trance primarily. So if there's 1 injured survivor and 3 healthy survivors, when you use a Grandfather Clock, the injured survivor will become the first person to be tranced. This will be great because once survivors realise this, they will have to expertly and very quickly try and heal, otherwise they know full well that they will have the target on their back. And the value of this is knowing that if this doesn't work and if survivors don't trance in time, you will have a free down. After that we have the Black Widow Spider, which means that survivors can no longer sabotage Grandfather Clocks. A very simple one, but again, just to keep the pressure of the Grandfather Clocks and the General up to an absolute maximum, survivors cannot sabotage Grandfather Clocks anymore, which means that he's the only person who can interact with them and get full benefits from. Now the next one is Mother's Eyes. The survivor who rescues another from the trance state will be exposed for 30 seconds. Consider this kind of like make your choice. The pressure that I imagine you could get from this would be absolutely lovely, and I would definitely be running this one very often. And the final for the very rare add-ons, we have Chrissy's Hand, which spawns an additional Grandfather Clock in the trial. which is great because that means you'll be able to get 5 cycles before they all recharge, which just, again, keeps your pressure up, keeps survivors panicking, and making sure that Kate Bush is getting played as often as possible. And then finally we have his ultra rare add-ons, the first one being the iridescent tattoo, which causes cursed tendrils will now injure healthy survivors. Very similar to the engineer's fang. It's a very generic one, but I feel like one that would be very deserving of the ultra rare and iridescent variety. Yeah, cursed tendrils will injure healthy survivors now. And his second would be Fair Strike, which grandfather clocks will now respawn after 20 seconds. So instead of having to cycle through every single one before you're able to reuse them all, if you use one, it will then automatically respawn after 20 seconds. Now this one, I imagine paired with Black Widow Spider would be absolutely brutal. The fact that you can constantly use the grandfather clocks and survivors would not be able to do anything about it. I'm not just thinking this because I invented all of this up, but I really feel like this would be such a cool killer and power, and the visuals and the cinematics and the animations could be absolutely stunning. And finally, just to talk about the maps, I thought of 2 different locations that we could go. A, bring Hawkins Lab back. Medically, we need it. Medically, bring it back. But we could also have the Starcourt Mall as the new map introduced with this chapter, or we could potentially have Victor Creel's house as well, which maybe could be a Garden of Joy variant as well, considering it seems like the same timepiece and the same layout a little bit. Just have to tweak it a little bit to suit more of the Stranger Things Season 4 aesthetic, but I feel like both of those could be some really good map variations as well. Guys, that is it. I really hope you enjoyed watching. Please, once again, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. It took me hours upon hours to design and think of all of this, so I would really appreciate the support, guys. I really would. I don't want to seem like I'm begging, but I did put a lot of work into this one, so I hope you can see it, and I hope you enjoyed it. You will have to let me know down below what you think of this idea for a chapter, and if you want me to create any other concepts for licensed chapters in the future, maybe Alien or Predator, please let me know. I know I did a video a little while ago saying what chapters I would like to be introduced into the game, but if you want a more fleshed out chapter concept like this, just let me know who you'd like to make it on, and I can probably do one of these again in the future. But I think I speak for everyone when I say that we would kill for another Stranger Things chapter and the revival of the first. So don't forget to sign the petition as well to bring back Stranger Things. That'll be in the description below. Every little helps. It's just a small thing, but you never know. Behavior might be listening. Guys, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Take care. Bye-bye for now.